Absolutely. Well, the funny part is like we do this in so many other ways. Why do we limit ourselves when it comes to faith?
Yeah.
And that was kind of, we when explaining what Suivera is and how it works, sometimes it's fun to kind of realize we're already doing it. And so when you realize you're already doing it, then it makes it easier to understand. For example, like I have an Italian heritage, right? But being an Italian doesn't make me less American, right? I'm Italian American, or I'm American with Italian descent, and it's like the same as like I could be Christian or Jewish or Muslim or agnostic or atheist or scientist or whatever it is that I believe, and a part of Suivera. And that doesn't make me one less than the other. And I love this idea of also being able to explore in different areas. For example, if we just, let's say someone had never left the United States, there's a lot you can do in the United States. There's a lot you can see and experience, and it's amazing. But ultimately, Paris, Las Vegas, and Paris, Texas aren't the same as Paris, France. And so if you really want a different experience, even though it's the same name, it's the same, concept in some degree, when you actually go to Paris, France, it's a very, very different experience, and it expands the awareness. It's not Paris, USA, right? And so same with London, Ohio, and maybe London, England are very, very different, right?
Just slightly.
Just slightly. So there's like a whole new. Now you're just opening up a whole door to a whole new experience, right? And so that's when you have that ability to explore faiths in that same way, it makes it fun, it makes it engaging, and it makes it exciting. I mean, you can do that with languages, you can do that with food. We have full food courts of where you can, in this one place, you can have Mexican food, Asian food, Italian food, American, gastropub, whatever, so anything that you want in just one space. So why is it so normalized to do that with food, but not something as important and magnificent in our lives as faith?
Yes, exactly. And then that brings us back to spiritual, not necessarily religious, right? Because as spirits embodying a body, however we desire to look at that, it gives us the opportunity to, if we choose one, then that's wonderful. Maybe we will always desire to walk one and explore one. But it also gives our spirit, our soul, the opportunity to say, I really would like to understand, which is what drove me personally, how love expresses itself through all of these different paths. I desire to walk the path of love. And as I walk the path of love, how does love express itself in all of these amazing ancient traditions and wisdoms? And what can I gain from all of that insight? And then what does that mean for me as I am a walking embodiment of love, right? Because I felt like I was just missing so much by limiting my experience and my awareness and my knowledge of all of these. So I know what I felt when I was like, I kept questioning, am I wrong? Am I bad? And that goes back to the inner critic, right? Because sometimes that negative voice in our head, that tendency for us to go to the negative, which is so programmed in us because it's a protective mechanism, can make us feel, oh, if I leave my religious circle that I have become so accustomed to, it is like leaving my tribe and I am bad or I am wrong or I am forsaking God even. I went through that struggle. I personally felt like if I leave my Christian heritage, then I am forsaking God, which now I can look back and go, no, I now do not feel like I was forsaking God in any way. I was just learning to connect with God in multiple different ways. It's like knowing how to connect with someone you care about via a landline telephone, a cell phone, text, email. Like there are so many different ways to get a hold of someone, right?
Just insert Wolf, from The Office, all the different ways that you can reach someone, fax all at once.
Yeah, just multiple
email,
lines
text.
in, right? So now I have multiple lines in. I can just get right in there. And that's how it feels to me. Now, I'm not going to tell somebody else how it feels for them, but that's how it feels for me. But I still needed to go through my process to understand, because I felt so drawn this way and so drawn this way. And there was a whole flow that I had to go through to get through that negative brain bias I had, and the guilt and the shame. But it wasn't because somebody else was shaming me. It may be one or two people who didn't desire me to, they felt like they needed to protect me in some way. But it was more me. It was so much more me that I needed to get through. And so creating this place, this safe space for people to come and not have to give up anything if it doesn't feel right.